For this collar, you'll need a quick release buckle and D-ring in the same size, and some paracord. I'm using 2 colours of paracord, but you can use one, and all measurements will be in the description below. To start, we're going to take our strands through what I call the centre strands, the strands that join your buckle. And then I'm just going to start with my pink strand. I'm going to lay it on top, and this loop that we've created here, we're going to bring it up through that loop. And for your first knots, you want to try and make them quite tight and get them quite close to the buckle. I'm going to take that strand and I'm going to put it underneath my centre strand and down through that loop that we've created. And when you pull this tight, it might help to pull it down at this point, just like this. It's a bit tricky because I have taped mine to my board. And we're going to do the exact same with our green strand. So I'll just move my pink out the way and take my green. I'm going to place it over my centre strand, bring it up through that loop, and pull it tight. I'm going to take it under my centre strand and down through this loop. And what we're making here essentially is just a whole row of single lark head knots with a crisscross pattern in between. Now at this point you'll want to decide which colour you want to see most on top of your zigzag that goes down the centre. I'm going to do my green, so I'm going to place that on top at this point. If I wanted to do my pink, I would just cross them over. Okay, so next we're going to repeat that first step, but we want to leave a little bit of the green in between. We don't want to pull it too tight, we want it to be essentially the same width. We don't want to pull our centre strands too tight together, but you will see that further down. I'll do some that are quite tight and you can see the difference. So I'm going to put my strand over, bring it up through this loop, and pull it tight. Don't worry too much about making this bit really tight, because as we go we can push them up. So if there's a small gap here, it's not the biggest deal. Put it underneath your centre strand and down through that loop. And then for our pink strand again, over our centre strand, up through the loop. Under and down through the loop. And essentially what you want to do is make it tight enough that your centre strands are kind of the same width they would be when you've just set up your collar. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose. So if you do mess up, if it's too tight or too loose, you just undo it and do it again. Right, make sure my green is on top to keep that nice zigzag pattern, and then I'm just going to repeat the process. Okay, and you'll notice that your first 2 knots are a bit tighter just because they are the first 2, and it is very malleable, so you can push it together. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carry on and complete the rest of this collar, and then I will come back and show you exactly how to finish it off. Okay, as you can see, I've finished my collar. Now I did do the second half a bit tighter, and you'll be able to see this on the back. So you've got your green down the front, you can see the pink down the back. I've got a nice even zigzag here, but in the second half I've pulled it too tight, and you can see the difference. It's not as even. The green strands, some are longer, some are shorter. So if you're making this yourself and you notice that it is just a bit off, it's easy to undo, you don't have to worry. And you can just keep going and restart. To finish off, what we're going to do is take both of our strands and put them through this little gap here. You might need your pliers for that, and that's okay. And now what we're going to do, if I turn it over, is I'm going to use my pliers and we're going to put both of those strands through our loop that we made at the very start when you set up your collar. And this is another reason why when I join my colours, I usually put the join inside the braid. I don't tend to leave it at the very back. And this is why, if this breaks, and even if you do the mani method and join it that way, if you don't do it properly, it can break. And if it breaks here, then your whole collar is ruined. It will come apart. So that's why I like to hide my join in the braid, just a bit stronger, and gives me a bit more peace of mind. I'm taking both my strands through this loop, and now that's all that's left to do is to cut it here, singe it, and we're finished. And I could not for the life of me find my decent scissors, so I will be hacking this short with my poor, well-used house scissors. And I know I say this in every video if you've watched other videos, but please make sure that you're careful with your flame because you also don't want to burn other parts of your cord. Right, take your pliers and just push that in, and that'll help it adhere to other parts of the cord. And trust me when I say, that's not coming out anytime soon. And here we are. Completely finished lark head dog collar. I will say this would also look smart in just the one colour, but the two colours really gives you the effect of that zigzag. If you do make it, please send me pictures, leave me a comment to tell you how you get on. And as always, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you later. Bye!